Hey guys, we are Sean and Christy. This is Long Honeymoon, and this week we have an exciting guest to share with you. James Spann is one of the most experienced and respected meteorologists in the United States. We live in a part of the country that sees a lot of severe weather, especially tornadoes and flash flooding. And anytime there's a severe weather event, everyone in our area turns to James Spann. He is a local institution. So with all of us gearing up for the spring RV camping season ahead, we thought we would turn to the best, most knowledgeable person we could find to discuss severe weather safety when you're traveling with an RV. First of all, RV is recreational vehicle. By definition, you are in a vehicle when the severe weather event occurs.
Right.
So like, what if you are in your RV and you're traveling to your destination? Let's say, people load up the RV and they're going out on their spring RV trip and suddenly they encounter severe weather on their way.
Yeah. So what sort of tips do you have for people that are on the road when severe weather happens?
Well, the biggest issue is people have to have a way of getting warnings, that you have to have a way of getting warnings. And if you're in a fixed location, obviously the baseline we preach, it's a weather radio, NOAA weather radio, which has nothing to do with the cell network. That's crucial for every home and business.
Hazard, deadly tornado. Source, radar confirmed tornado. Impact, you are in a life-threatening situation.
But on the road, it's obviously going to be your phone. And what's going to happen, you're going to be driving, and all of a sudden, you're going to have this really loud tone out on your phone, which has nothing to do with an app. It's called Wireless Emergency Alerts, or WEA.
That's what it's going to sound like.
And every phone sold in the United States has this built in. Again, this is not an app. This is built into the phone. And by default, you're going to get three things with wireless emergency alerts: tornado warnings, flash flood warnings, and amber alerts. And first off, let me just say this. We've learned a lot of people have gotten in there and turned them off because they don't want the amber alerts, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, goodness gracious, if somebody's child is missing, don't you want to help them?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. But I would encourage you to please turn those on. Go to set notifications, settings, notifications, and emergency alerts, and be sure that's turned on. So that way you'll get them. So what's going to happen if you are in a tornado warning polygon, you will get that WEA alert while you're driving. And that sucker is loud, if you've heard him before.
Yes.
And so, you don't have to worry about where you are or, anything on that map. The first thing you got to figure out is getting off that highway, because any vehicle is a death trap. You cannot stay in a car, truck, bus, RV, whatever the vehicle is. You can't. They can go airborne. So the object of the game is to stop at the next exit if you're on an interstate or the next opportunity, and go into a business, a truck stop, a fast food restaurant, a gas station, any site-built business like that. And most everybody will welcome you. Just go in and ride the thing out until it's over. The most urgent call is to get off the road and get into a business. The average lead time for a tornado warning in the southern United States is about 12 minutes.
Wow.
Typically, you're going to have 12 minutes to find a gas station or a fast food restaurant. Now, we can't always promise that. For these little small spin-up tornadoes, it might be 1 or 2 minutes. And sometimes the little bitty ones can touch down without warning. But for the strong, violent tornadoes, the ones that do most of the damage, sometimes the lead time can be greater than 30 minutes.
With regards to flash flooding while driving, any, additional tips for people?
And more people die in flash floods on the road than tornadoes, because we tend to have more flash flood events than tornadoes. And so, again, with that wireless emergency alert enabled on your phone, you're going to get a flash flood warning. And if you drive into that, you'll get that loud tone out. And then you just got to be really careful. And if you've heard me say this a million times before, and I'll say it here, if you see water running across the road, turn around. Don't drown.
Don't drown.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got to get that plastered into your mind. Social scientists have told us that you need to come up with these phrases that people can get etched in their brain here. These wonderful people that understand human behavior. They have really helped us because we do physical science. We don't do social science, but we have learned from them. And so turn around, don't drown is crawled up into people's head. And it doesn't take a lot of water to push a vehicle, even a big vehicle, off a road. And you don't know what's under that flood water. Many roads are washed out. There is nothing there but a big ravine, and you go in that thing and you could easily drown. So, and I'll be honest with you, flash floods scare me more than tornadoes. So if you see water running across the road, turn around, don't drown. And if you get the flash flood warning, again, I would pull off the road, stop, and make some decisions. Look at radar, get some supplemental information. And we do like for people to have a good weather app on their phone, in addition to wireless emergency alerts that's built in. And I'm not in the business of, promoting apps. There's a gazillion weather apps. I mean, a gazillion weather apps. But the best radar app on the planet is called Radar Scope. And it's a pay app. You pay, I think it's $9.99. But boy, that's a top-notch professional radar app that's marvelous. I couldn't live without it.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you if you had any apps that you recommend. So that's good to hear, because it's hard to, find weather for longer distances. If you're traveling through 3 states in a day, sometimes, just finding that on an app or on a website where you can see a map of that can be hard to do.
Yeah. And again, the apps are okay, but all these apps, the forecast, they're automated. They're based on model output. And I would prefer for people to use a vetted product that's prepared by actual meteorologists. And all these apps, that's automated. We call them crap apps, excuse the expression. Just go to the National Weather Service. I mean,
okay.
And again, if you're traveling, what you need to do in a tornado-prone time of the year, first off, check the outlooks of the day. The Storm Prediction Center is that branch of the Weather Service that prepares daily outlooks. Every day, they will have outlooks for severe weather across the country. There are 5 levels of risk, 1 through 5. 1 is marginal, 5 is high. And you can look at that, and the outlooks are issued 7 days in advance. So that's where I would start, is just to get on the search Storm Prediction Center and look at their outlooks. And you can see exactly where the risks are for any given day and the category of the risk, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you've got a level, 3, 4, 5 type day, you better be really weather aware. You really need to pay attention.
One other issue that we have personally encountered when traveling with our RV, we were actually in a campground. So we weren't traveling to our destination. We had already arrived, but we did not know the county that we were in. And we encountered this severe weather event, which was a tornado coming through the area. And we didn't know really what to do or where to go. And I think one issue with an RV is I think people get a false sense of security. They're in an RV, they think they're in a safe place, but it's, as you said, very unsafe.
You're right. And I hate to be blunt, but listen, it's a death trap. I mean, yeah. I can't tell you how many people have died on my watch over the years in mobile homes or cars or vehicles. They're great. They're marvelous. Goodness, I'm going to hop in my car and drive to work. I'm going to be there in 10 minutes. If I had to walk to work, it'd be all day. But you just can't stay in them during a tornado. So when it comes to camping, first off, never, ever, ever, ever think you're going to hear some siren. That kills more people than anything else, the siren mentality. And I don't know why it is ingrained in the minds of the people of this country. I'm going to hear that tornado siren go off. No, you won't. You might on a sunny day when they're testing them, but what about a raging storm at 4 a.m.? You have no hope. And that's why getting the warning is such a big deal. And listen, get a weather radio. If you're going to, be fixed, get one of these NOAA weather radios. You got to get one. And I don't sell them. I have nothing to do with them. They cost about $30. And that way you've got that in addition to your phone, because any system can fail. You need to just getting the warning. So you get the warning, you're parked there. What do you do? Well, what you're going to do before you get in there is look at the Storm Prediction Center outlooks. And if you've got a severe weather risk for that day, you've got the responsibility of finding out where the nearest shelter is, whether that's an actual community shelter within the RV park, or it's a nearby business that's open 24 hours a day, a truck stop, again, a fast food restaurant, anything that's open. So if you know you've got a severe weather day and you're camping, you've got to do that in advance. You can't wait until there's a tornado 5 miles down the road and say, what are we going to do now? So part of it is preparation. So check the Storm Prediction Center outlook. And if you've got a significant risk that day, ask around, do some research, poke around. And when it comes to the maps, again, if you got a good app, that radar scope, and again, I'm not here to sell radar scope. I have nothing to do with it, but it will show you your location on the radar map. It will have the polygons defined. And you guys know this. We don't issue warnings by counties. We issue warnings based on geometric shapes called polygons.
Respect the polygons.
Yeah, we were going to ask you
Preach on, brother. Come on.
That to people that don't know anything about that. So,
right.
Yeah.
So, tornadoes, even big tornadoes, are tiny compared to an entire county. You don't need to warn an entire county. That makes no sense. You want to warn people in the path of the tornado. So we use smaller shapes that are polygons to define the risk. And if you're in the polygon, you respect it and you do something. And if you're not, don't worry about it, but watch it. But, and again, if you get a warning trip, you'll be in the polygon on your phone or weather radio. But get that, an app like Radar Scope, and it shows your location and your location in relation to the tornado and the polygon. So without having to go to local TV or some other source, you can see that on your phone and give you some ideas on what to do. And then beyond that, most local TV stations do a good job of doing long form coverage during tornado warnings. Whatever's on television, we're going to cut it off and we're going to do weather. And you don't have to have a TV to watch that. You can watch it on your phone. And we want people watching on their phone. I mean, we really would prefer that instead of watching on some big screen television, so you can take it with you if you got to go to a safe place or do so. That technology is just great. And that's the other thing I would advise, is to just maybe know a couple of local TV stations and their Facebook page. Most everybody streams it live on Facebook. That's kind of universal. Mm-hmm. Or you can, go to their website and they stream it there too. But most television meteorologists do a pretty good job of, talking to travelers that aren't necessarily from there, because I'm very cognizant when I'm on television in these long marathons. I got a lot of people listening to me on radio that have never been in Alabama before.
Right.
They don't know the difference between East Aboga and Andalusia. Try and help them with interstate exit numbers and references like that they can understand.
Yeah. And that's something that I think you really excel at, more so than any other weather person I have heard from, as far as the detail that you give. And that is really incredible.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. I mean,
we've got a very violent looking tornado that is near the community of New Lexington, near the Tuscaloosa-Fayette County line. That'll be crossing Highway 43 in a matter of minutes, north of Northside High School.
If I say a tornado is 14 miles southwest of Clanton, nobody knows where that is. Even people that have lived there all their life, they don't know what that is or what that means. That makes no sense. But if I say that thing is near Jim's Pit Barbecue, everybody in Billingsley and Fairview, in Chilton County and Autauga County, they know where that is. And so I like to use points of reference that people understand, like barbecue joints and Walmarts and things like that.
Right. Well, it certainly helps people. And I know that it has to have saved thousands of lives over the years, because it really does resonate with people when you give those really detailed, locations like that.
My brain is full of useless knowledge. It's only on tornado days.
Well, it's not useless on tornado days. That's right.
Let me say one more thing too. But when it comes to prepping this stuff, you've got to get out of an RV. You can't be in it. You just can't be in it. But let's say by chance, I just have to tell people this, by chance you're home and you get a tornado warning. Like I said, 10 years ago, we had a horrific tornado day here, April 27, 2011. Yeah. We had 62 tornadoes in one day in my state, and 252 people died, precious people. I'm in the process of trying to memorize every name, every story, and I'm almost there. I didn't even talk about this day for 6 months. But again, I went back to the social scientist. I wanted to know why everybody died, because the warnings were excellent for all these tornadoes, yet the loss of life was so high. And the number one reason people died was siren dependency. We've talked about that, not getting the warning, thinking you're going to hear some siren. But the number two reason, what do you think it was? The lack of helmet use. Everybody, but most people that died, they died from blunt force trauma to the skull, the head, or the neck region. And a cheap $5 Walmart bicycle helmet, if they had that on, they'd be alive today. So that's just critical, is having a helmet for everybody, including adults and kids and everybody. And the other thing, a lot of people bled to death in open fields, and first responders couldn't find them.
Wow.
You know what would have saved them? A little cheap portable air horn that they put in your pocket. You stick that thing in your pocket and you might be injured and you can't force air through a whistle. You can't vocalize your need for help, but you squeeze that sucker and they can hear that thing over a mile away and the first responders can find you. So the big things that we encourage people to have in their safe place, it's helmets, portable air horns. And the other thing is hard sole shoes. If you have to walk over a tornado debris field, your feet will be shredded. If you're barefooted in socks or in sneakers, good hard sole shoes. And that's the other thing we like for people to have.
I do have one other question. If somebody is poorly prepared and they're traveling and they get that warning that, you know, a tornado is in their path and they are somewhere on some little county highway in the middle of nowhere and it is coming on top of them, what is worst case scenario? What do they do?
So the worst case scenario, you're traveling, you have no cell service or your phone has died and you're out of touch. And all of a sudden you see a tornado. Number one, if you've not been trained in storm spotting, you have no idea what's going on here. You know, but you know you're in immediate danger. Right. A lot of people make the assumption, oh, it's going the other way, or, you know, don't make that assumption. The only thing you can do, and this is hard to do, but listen, what's going to happen if you stay in that RV, if it's a more significant tornado, an EF2 or higher, most likely the RV will spin around, flip, or in the worst case scenario, if it's an EF4 and EF5, it's going to be lofted. And again, you have no chance of surviving if it's lofted. And even if it's flipped over multiple times, there's a good chance you're going to be seriously injured or lose your life. You got to get out of that thing. So this is all you can do. And again, this is really hard to do, but we've had people do that and it saved their life. You stop on the side of the road and you get out of the vehicle and you lie flat. I mean, flat as a pancake. And you put both arms around your head because the shrapnel coming around that tornado, it's going to be brutal. And you're going to have items within that tornado that can really hurt you, but you want to protect your head and your skull region. You'd rather have a serious injury to your arm instead of your head. And again, it's going to take about 30 to 60 seconds for it to go by, and then it's over. But that's the only option you have. It's a horrible option, but that's a better option than staying in that RV. Okay.
That's very important to know because I know that there's somebody out there that will happen to. And that information could save their life for sure.
Well, thank you, guys. I appreciate you letting me preach a little weather safety. It's always good to talk weather safety. So thank you, guys, and y'all be safe.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you so
much.
Really, our audience is kind of a national audience, and you know we have a lot of followers in California and Utah and up north and all over the place. And so they're probably being introduced to you for the first time. I know you have a very large social media following. So if people want to follow you, they could go check you out on Facebook and Twitter. And
I'm on the Twitter and the Facebook.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. I mean,
reluctantly, but I know you save a lot of lives.
I have to live in that world. Goodness, I mean, my job is to mitigate loss of life during severe weather. That's what I'm here to do. And for a lot of people, that's how we reach them. They don't watch traditional television. We reach them on the social platforms. So Facebook and Instagram are crucial. Those are the two big ones. You know, Twitter, it's important. They all are. And to reach younger people, you have to have a presence on TikTok and Snapchat.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't make the cool dance movies like everybody else, but you know,
every man has to have limits now. There's some lines.
Yeah, I mean, I put some goofy stuff over there, but you have to have a relationship with younger people so they know who I am, and if they need weather information, they know they can find it on that TikTok channel. So we are in different times. In a way, it's horrible. You deal with the haters and the trolls and the vitriol.
You're a worthless piece of poop. Worst forecast ever. You blanking blank clown. Do you realize if other people were as bad as you at their professions, they would be fired or in jail?
Social media is not a good place for mental health, but at the same time, we can reach a lot of people over there we don't reach on traditional means, and then they send great photographs. I mean, we've learned on television, if we show radar, people don't really do much. They see a bucket of spilled paint. But if I can show them a photo, a video of a tornado, they know this is real. I mean, they know it's happening. I mean, it's like... In fact, I'll show you guys the one that hit our house. This is the Eagle Point tornado. This is what it looked like approaching my house.
Right.
Wow.
This is an EF3. This was taken from Lee Branch in south of Birmingham, Alabama, crossing U.S. Highway 280. It just came through Eagle Point. It just came through. and it's about to cross over Double Oak Mountain, and then it comes down into Highland Lakes, Greystone Farm, Shoal Creek, and Vandiver. And this is what I do. And but on March 25th, we had 5 fatalities, and that's 5 too many. 5 too many. But the truth is, we could have had over 50 people died that day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, people heard the warnings, and people were prepared. The people of Alabama, in this case, did an amazing job of being prepared. They were prepped. They heard the warnings. They knew what to do. They had a plan. And accordingly, we fared okay. Now, there was a lot of damage. I can see halfway to Memphis at my house now, where I used to live kind of out here in the woods. But again, this is just, what we deal with and again, the tornado season down here in where we are, it's November through May. The big months are November, March, and April. But, it shifts north in the summer. And by July and August, it's up near the Canadian border. But again, everybody's just got to get the warning, have a plan, and we'll get through it just fine.
Yeah. And I would say the other thing is to not delay when you hear those warnings or when they tell you it's coming your way, because I think my aunt and uncle that live in Eagle Point, that's what saved their life. As soon as they got that message that it was coming their way, they immediately went into their basement.
Yeah. Human nature, you want to go out and look for it.
Right. You want to see it first.
Go look out the window. People seek confirmation. We know that. That's a social science thing. And that's why we try on television to get those things on camera, so you don't have to walk outside. We can show it to you. But the problem is, where we are, most tornadoes are rain wrapped, and we can't do that. Or we have hills and trees that get in the way, or they happen at night.
Right.
So you're right. Just please trust your local meteorologist. And if you're in a polygon, respect it and go do something about it, and we'll be okay.
All right, guys. So that was it. Our chat with the legendary Mr. James Spann.
We really want to thank James Spann for taking his time to share his knowledge and wisdom with Loloho Nation.
It was a thrill for us to interview him. He truly is a legend in this part of the country, and so we were really excited when he agreed to chat with us today.
Sorry, guys. I hope you like this video. Stay safe out there.
That's right. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family. Like Sean said, leave a comment down below. If you haven't yet, please click that subscribe button. And you can also click the bell icon to make sure you're notified of any future videos as they get posted. And until next time, what do we say? Loloho.
Yeah, follow me on the Twitter, the
Tweeters and the Facebooks, and the interwebs.
You blank blank, I hope you choke, you lying, I think you meant to say sack, back of blank, burn in blank.
The trolls, I can deal with them. I tell people all the time, you can't hurt my feelings because I have no feelings left to hurt. None.
We deal with the trolls also.
I know you do. See, you deal with the same trolls. We call them drive-by haters. They hate everybody. They hate you and me and anybody they hate on. They're going to hate on them.
Spann is trending on Twitter this morning. When you're a weather person and you're trending, it's not good.